Hey friends, what's up? Welcome or welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm sharing with you a few tools that I use to help me live a slower life. So I've talked about a few of these tools before, but I've never explicitly explained how they help me live a slower life. And as someone who works a 9 to 5 and has a lot of other responsibilities on top of that, I definitely need tools. I definitely need the help. These realistically and accessibly help me a lot, and I hope they'll help you as well. So let's get right into it. Okay, so the first tool is Pinterest. I love Pinterest, and this year specifically, I started using Pinterest for my vision board, for my yearly vision board, and it was the best decision ever because Pinterest not only is full of inspiring content, there's quotes, there's ideas, there's DIYs, there's pictures, just aesthetic pictures, and it's so inspiring, but you can also modify your boards. So if you make your vision board as a Pinterest board, you can add things, you can remove things, you can move things around, and I personally like that because throughout the year, my state of mind is constantly changing, so my vision board would make sense for my vision board to also change with me. So I'm able to adjust it accordingly, and that keeps me inspired, that keeps me from continuously going into Pinterest and looking at my vision board and staying inspired. Inspiration is a huge thing for me. Sometimes, or actually a lot of times, I will get very demotivated, and so I need to look at art, I need to consume art to get inspired again, and Pinterest is such a great area for me to do that. And not only do I have a vision board on Pinterest, but I have like a bunch of like mini boards, like subcategory boards where I have things such as mindset. So I'll have a whole bunch of slow living quotes in there. I also have routines, self-care, fitness, wellness, all sorts of different categories. So if I need a boost of inspiration in any particular category, I can go onto Pinterest, I can check those things out, I can add, edit, modify, whatever it may be. I will actually link my Pinterest down below so that you can check out all of the boards that I've curated. I'm constantly updating it, so if you need that boost as well, it's already done for you. Okay, the second tool I have talked about many times, so I won't get into it too much, but it is Notion. So for me, when it comes to slow living, productivity plays a huge role. I feel like if I'm not organized, if I don't have a grip on my life, I am not going to have the capacity to practice slow living things. My brain will just not allow it. I would have too much anxiety and stress on trying to get a grip on my life that I would not be able to actually relax and slow the pace of my day-to-day. So Notion helps me out with that so much. Notion pretty much has my entire life in there, from like personal goals to professional goals and everything in between. Whenever I have projects that I need to work on, when I planned that event for my mom's birthday last week, I use Notion. So it's got everything in there. I can basically transfer my brain and all of the thoughts that are in there into Notion so that I have a grip on my life and I can stay organized without keeping it all in my head and, going into an anxious rut. So yeah, Notion is a huge help for me. I have a bunch of free templates I'll also link in the description box because those are the same ones that I use. So if that is something that is important to you, you can grab those up and they're totally free. All right, tool number 3, which also has to do with productivity, is my bullet journal. So when I don't want to use Notion, when I literally want to jot things down and it's just too much work for me to go into Notion and create a board and I just want to write down whatever is on my mind. Or if I want to look at my weekly to-do lists and my habit trackers, I use my bullet journals. It's just another form of productivity. It's another form of planning, but it helps me stay on track when Notion becomes a little bit overwhelming and I don't necessarily want to use Notion. I have my bullet journal to also be there, and I can also use my bullet journal for diary entries, reflecting, things like that. So it's just another helpful tool that isn't as high maintenance as Notion, which I do love, obviously. Some instances don't need all of that. Okay, the next 2 tools are related to one another. By the way, if you want more information about my bullet journal and Notion, I have a bunch of videos on the channel, so you can definitely scroll back and see those, as well as these 2, Google Keep and Google Calendar. They're minimalist kind of programs. I know not everybody uses them. It's a specific set of people that love Google programs, and I'm definitely one of those people. Google Keep essentially is like an amped up to-do list. It's a to-do list, but with a lot of other functionalities in it. So if I need to color code something, or if I need to set a reminder for a to-do list, things like that, it's just a little bit of a boost when it comes to your generic to-do list, and I personally love that. So I use it on the day-to-day. Sometimes I use it for like my grocery list, or sometimes I'll use it for something as large as, oh, I'm doing some research and I need to jot down all of the things that I found in my research into this to-do list so that I can look at it later, kind of thing. Or if I'm like paying bills and I need to set a reminder for a month ahead. These are just things that help me stay organized from a large scale to a small scale, and to-do lists are something that help me stay organized. Of course, I talk about that all the time. And then Google Calendar. Google Calendar is something that I have been actively and inactively using throughout many years, but I have recently started using it more actively, and it's to time block. So I've done a video on time blocking, so I won't get into it, but recently I have time blocked my morning to have specific things, specific tasks or items that I want to get through in the morning to ensure that I do it. So that applies to slow living as well, because if I want to literally force myself into getting slow living practices in my day, like I said, I'm a very busy person, I can time block it and I can set reminders in my Google Calendar to make sure that I do that. And so far, I've been using it for a short period of time recently. It has been working really, really well for me, so I definitely wanted to include it in this list. Okay, and the last tool, and you all know that I love coffee so much, and I like good coffee. I know that's really snobby to say, but if my coffee doesn't taste good, I'm gonna want to go out and order coffee from like a legit coffee shop or something like that. Otherwise, it's just not an enjoyable experience, and life is too short to have bad coffee. So my espresso machine is very valuable to my slow living routine. You see it a lot in my Instagram and TikTok videos, my YouTube shorts and stuff like that, because coffee in the morning is a huge part of my slow living routine, my slow morning routine. So it's always there. I'm always using it. It has daily use for sure, and I love my espresso machine. I think it works great and it gives me really high quality espresso. So I just wanted to throw that in there, because if you're looking for an espresso machine, or if you're looking for something to help you spend less on coffee shops and spend more time at home and more time making your perfect cup of coffee, this espresso machine is definitely perfect for pros and beginners and anybody in between. I used to be a barista, and I think this is a great machine to be used at home. So I will link it down below if you're interested in that. All right, y'all, those are my list of tools that help me live a slower life. A lot of them are mostly productivity based because, like I said, I need to have a grip on my life in order for me to practice slow living. Otherwise, I would lose my mind. And if you are anything like me, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I hope these tools are helpful. If you want to hear more about any of these tools that I talked about, I do have videos on Google Keep, Google Calendar, and Notion. But if you want to hear more about those or any of the other things that I talked about, let me know in the comments. If you want to hear more about my slow living journey, just hit the subscribe button, because that's what I talk about on this channel for the most part, in addition to some of my tech videos, which I know a lot of you are here for. Don't worry, I will continue to have tech videos where I talk about my Google Pixel phones and other things. I might actually do a video on my Sony XM4s, because I just got those headphones, and spoiler alert, I'm absolutely obsessed with them right now. So yeah, maybe that will be an upcoming video, but thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Let me know what you're working on in terms of your slow living journey in the comments, and I will talk to you in next week's video.